Steven Risotto getting to a submarine. I don't know if Reardon guys like submarines. He's got that Reardon hat on right now. Nobody reps
Was
Reardon.
he a submarine thrower?
Yeah, I don't know, but nobody reps Reardon High School harder than Steven Risotto. He reps hard. He covers the Giants for sfbay.com. Catch him on the Rizzo Cast. The Rizzo Cast podcast. He's at JT Snow. We can't get JT Snow. He's at Joe Madden. We can't get Joe Madden. He's at Larry Boa. We've had him. We've had Ron Wotus. We had Nick Coletti. We had Jerome Williams with the Puka Shells. Tyler Glasnow from Tampa Bay. Renell Brooks Moon. Who the hell is his producer?
Joe Shasky.
Oh, have you been on there? Oh, you ain't calling me yet. Don't call me now. Don't call me now, Steven. Good morning to you, buddy. How you doing?
What's going on, fellas? Bonta, you're next on my list.
No, don't call me. I'm on vacation, behold. Talk to me in September. No, I love you. 10-game win streak for the Giants. Most impressive thing about the 10-game winning streak?
I think the most impressive thing about this winning streak has to be the bullpen. Just look at what they've done with the bullpen. I think especially as of late, I think last night it was on display. It's well documented that they've been pretty short in the rotation, right? With only 3 starters, Alex Cobb, who's now on the injured list, and he's kind of been replaced with Alex Wood. And you have this bullpen here that's kind of a makeshift bullpen with a lot of bulk inning guys. And last night it was on display. Look at Sean Jelly. Look what Sean Jelly did. 4 innings, 5 strikeouts. And the thing about him is that when he's off, he's got the fastball and only the fastball. And it becomes a very, very hittable pitch for him. And last night he finally had the breaking ball, and he said that was a pitch that kind of had escaped him when he was sent down the first time, and that ended up being a really good pitch for him. I think he got 12 swings on it and 6 misses. So he was on his game last night, and he also said that he was probably facing about $1 billion in that San Diego lineup last night. It's a Padres lineup that's around $250 million, and that price is not even close to what could buy the vibes around the corner of 3rd and King right now. And that bullpen has been a huge part in it. I believe, Jelly, Tristan Beck, and also Keaton Wynn have, been very scoreless in the last 4 games, 16 innings and only 1 earned run allowed. So it's been pretty impressive, and I think the bullpen's been leading the way.
Yeah, I want to stick with this topic. Steven, if you're out there and you're wondering who's Steven Risotto, he's one of the young, up-and-coming journalists who covers the Giants very, very thoroughly, and he knows the game. And I have tremendous respect for him because he's created a YouTube channel and a podcast and has been covering the Giants on a variety of outlets. And so he's somebody that I think is really tapped in.
You know what? He also hates when people propose on the scoreboard during games.
Yes.
He's one of us.
Yeah, I agree. Steven.
Sorry, Will O'Hara.
You're a younger guy. You're what, 20, 21 years old?
21.
Yeah, okay. So you kind of came up in this travel ball era, and you're a pitcher. So I want to ask you this question. Now, the ace will never go away. The Logan Webb, the Verlander, etc. I'm coming around on this kind of like utilizing people by committee over a 3-4 day tournament. You got to kind of like all hands on deck. I'll get 2 innings from this guy. I'll get 3 innings from that guy. I can only use my ace so many times in a weekend or whatever it is. Doesn't it kind of have some kind of a travel ball-y feel to what the Giants are doing right now in terms of patchworking their pitching staff? Like, I'm kind of coming around to what they're doing because that's the best I've ever seen Jelly look.
Yeah, and some guys are just more comfortable in that role. I think Sean Manaea is a good example. He talked about his preparation in between starts, and he said that he got lazy at times between those 5 days.
Huh.
And when you're in the bullpen, when you're pitching out of the bullpen and you're kind of in a bulk innings role, it's a little bit different. But to go back to your travel baseball point, there's a tournament, there's a game, a few years ago where I pitched game 1 and game 3 in the same day. And that's kind of just how it is. And we saw that Stanford kid kind of do the same thing where he threw all those pitches. It's happening at the younger level. There are strict pitch counts that are kind of in place. And the Giants, obviously, they want to make sure their bullpen is as fresh as possible. And I think the main argument against the bullpen games is, it's going to tax your bullpen completely. That's true if your bulk inning guys are not giving you length.
Yes.
What the Giants are seeing right now is they're getting length from these guys. Junis, Jelly, Beck, all the names that I listed, Manaea. And Manaea, for a long time, it looked like he was one of the better relievers since making the move to the bullpen, which might sound a little weird, but statistically speaking, he was. But the interesting thing about me is, I do believe that starters should go deeper in the games. I know what the data says. And I think the best starters, like you mentioned, Chasky, the best starters are going to be going deeper in the games regardless. But I think it's the in-between guys that are getting hurt by the third time through the order and the philosophy that comes with it. So it's a little bit different. And I, you know, it's funny because you look at the off-season workout routines, right? And these guys are lifting 600 pounds. They're deadlifting and they're squatting. And then they come in and they throw 3 innings. And it's like, what are we conditioning for when they're coming in and not going deep in the games? It seems like this generation, more than any generation, should be the most equipped to pitch deeper in the games. But kind of the data and the philosophy says otherwise.
Yeah, Bob Gibson is rolling over in his grave, no doubt about that. Steven Risotto
That's not
here
even fair.
On the morning
like
roast.
The ultimate hog of hogs.
I mean, come on, man.
He was the best.
He would scoff at everything happening with these pitchers today. Follow Steven Risotto at Steven Risotto on Twitter. Really good stuff, man. He really does a great job covering the San Francisco Giants, sfbay.ca. All right, let's get to it. The play that everybody's talking about today. Bottom of the 5th inning, Jock Peterson hits a base hit. We'll show the video here on YouTube and Twitch. And he hits a base hit. What did you think about the ruling there where the call gets overturned? Tatis Jr. throws a seed, 99 miles per hour. Blake Sabol a little bit out the base pass, but Gary Sanchez, by the letter of the law, is blocking the plate there. What is your takeaway in real time? And what did you think when they overturned it as Bob Melvin got ran by the whole plate up?
Yeah, I was there last night, and that was the talk of town, and that's going to be the talk of the town, obviously, this morning, too. And here's how I look at it. Every single level of baseball, that's an out.
Thank you.
Every single level of baseball, that is an out. And it's been an out forever. And, I know that the rule is, blocking the path of the runner in a legitimate attempt to receive a throw is not considered a violation, whatever. But the thing about it is, what is Gary Sanchez supposed to do in that situation? Mm-hmm. Is he supposed to just stand at home plate and wait for a swipe tag? It's like pretty soon we're not going to be able to have play at the plate if something like this plays at the plate, if something like this keeps happening. I mean, and it's funny because Bruce Bochy was very instrumental in, being on a committee to try and get this rule in place a few years after, I should say, Buster Posey was injured. And it kind of hurt him, and now Gabe Kapler's benefiting from it. And the very telling thing about this was that Kapler said after the game that if the call had gone the other way, he said that he would have found something to be mad about too. Mm. So, I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about this rule. And the umpires on the field, they can't do anything. Like, what are they supposed to do? They're getting the word from New York. I can't blame them. And I think the Giants, as they understood it, what Kapler said is that if the catcher's left foot is on the outside of the line without the ball, then he's not providing a clear lane to the runner. But Gary Sanchez had the ball. Like, is he? I don't understand if he's supposed to wait for Blake Sabol to come all the way to the plate and do kind of a backhanded or front
swipe
tag.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of sense because, like Melvin said, at some point you have to go get him. If he's up the line, you can't just stand there and reach because then the guy's going to get his hand in.
Well, and let's take it a step further. Let's say Blake Sabol stops in his tracks and it's a rundown situation. Now, because he was going to maybe go home, I have to move to the inside of the line to try to tag him on the side. Like, think about all the rundown situations between home and third base. I have never heard them say, you got to give him a lane on that. He's coming home. You got to give him a lane. Like, it by the letter of the law, maybe they were right, but the spirit of the rule is being completely compromised here. This is ridiculous.
You can't reward, and it was an aggressive send by the Giants' third base coach, Mark Wahlberg, but you can't reward a guy getting thrown out by that much. And I feel like that's what it might have came off as, is that they were rewarding. And I'm not going to say it was a bad send. It was an aggressive send. The Giants stand behind the send regardless, I think. But you can't reward a bad send. It changed the whole momentum. And I heard you guys earlier. It changed the whole momentum of the game. Yep. And I think the Padres felt that way too. Yu Darvish had to come back out, and it was a mess. And it now that it's happened twice in 2 days here, I think that MLB seriously has to come out with a statement, I guess, clarifying this rule, what to expect moving forward, because this is the only level where something like this is called. Only level in baseball.
Such a great point.
No doubt. How about Luis Matos? Making some things happen on the base pass.
You're the same age as him.
The walk. I mean, he is the same age. He's a lot. He's
one's
a baller.
rising in baseball, one's rising in journalism.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. Luis Matos, your early impressions on him, Steven?
Yeah, he's obviously, I mean, there's a lot to say about the debut so far. And yeah, he's a few months older than me, which is hard to believe. He's just a specimen. And I think he's, we have seen guys kind of knock on the door to the big leagues before and have a really good AAA. Luis Matos didn't knock on the door to AAA. He slammed on the door to the big leagues, right? I mean, he got up super quickly, and the Giants have been more aggressive with the way that they bring guys up. And the thing that's impressed me about Matos is, a few years ago, there was a lot of big questions in the organization about his plate discipline and his ability to lay off pitches. There's never any question about his contact. He's a great bat-to-ball guy. But there's always question about him taking walks. And kind of the same question, with Casey Schmidt, who I don't know if we're going to get to him, but he's a walk machine now. Mm-hmm. But the funny thing about Matos' at-bats is they just look so professional, look so unlike a 21-year-old. And I think the only guy that I've ever seen, have at-bats this young was Juan Soto on the other side. Juan Soto was having these at-bats at 19, 20. And Luis Matos, I'm not saying he's Juan Soto, and I'm not saying that, this is going to keep up, but it's an impressive thing. And he's got the tools. He's got great athleticism in center field. He's quick. He stole a base last night in a huge spot, a leadoff hit, he reached on base and stole second with nobody out. Blake Sabol at the plate. I mean, that's a big 90 feet right there. So he's got really good instincts, and these young guys have, really turned the momentum of this entire season.
I totally agree.
With the amount of injuries that have happened, look at all the guys that they've lost in the last 10 days. And it's crazy to imagine that they're 10-0, and Matos has played a really big part in it.
And they're strong up the middle now defensively. Crawford has always been a stalwart there. You lose Posey. Catching was a major problem. And Sabol caught yesterday, but I felt like Patrick Bailey, for the most part, has been excellent. He had a couple blubs here and there. The other day, I don't know what he was thinking, not even going for the tag at a home plate play. But he's been excellent defensively, and I feel like the pitching staff has elevated since he's been behind the dish. Matos out in center field, excellent. I'm really worried about this Yaz injury because I look at their AAA, and it's Bryce Johnson, it's Wisely. And then, that's a drop-off. What are they going to do in right field? Is it Slater? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, I don't know if they want to give Austin Slater at-bats against righties. That's kind of not his thing. He's great against lefties in a platoon role. And, they might not have a choice. And I think, Bryce Johnson, the thing about him is he hits better against lefties. He's not strong with the left side of the plate. And, you want to get Yaz at-bats. You want to give Yaz's at-bats to somebody. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Brett Wisely? Is he going to come back up? And he's not even an outfielder by trade. He kind of developed the position at the big league level. So you kind of have a little bit of a hole there if Yaz is going to miss significant time. And, he's going to get a scan. He probably already had it, I believe, an hour ago. And they're going to see what the extent of this injury is. And this is the same hamstring that he hurt in Mexico City, laying out for the ball in the really high altitude. And it did not look good last night. Right away, it kind of looked like Tatis had a play at third there on the J.D. Davis single, just because of the way Yaz was running. And you look at the definition of pulling up lame, and that was it. I mean, that was it. That did not look good. The hands on the knees, and coming very gingerly off the field. But they need him. He's been a really important part of their late inning comebacks the last week or so. And he's somebody that, he's not an aircraft carrier, but there's times where he could carry a team when he's hot.
All right, man. He just made a smashing debut on the Morning Roast. It's been a long time in the works with Steven Rissotto, 21 years old, one of the best insiders for the San Francisco Giants. He's always at Oracle Park. We'll get that man on the road one day covering these San Francisco Giants. Follow his work at sfbay.ca. Catch him on the Rizzocast podcast. And he's had some big, big-time names, just like JT Snow, Joe Madden, Larry Bower, Ron Wooders, and many, many more. Steven, good work, man. Have fun today.
Good luck with
Are you going
Loveman.
out there? Are you going out there today, Steven?
Not today, last night, but I will say that if they make it to 11 in a row, that's probably almost enough to make Bonte buy a ticket again.
Oh, well, Steven. Listen, let's just
Boom,
keep it a buck.
roasted.
Let's just keep it a buck. Your boy knows some people who know some people.
Night.
We get hand-me-downs, okay? Your boy hates spinning. Maybe on a crab sandwich here and there.
Pinocchio.
But the tickets?
Why you got it?
Steven, come on, man.
You ain't got a lot to kick it.
We're trying to save a buck,
kick
man.
it, Bonte.
I got one job right now. I'm not making money right now. I'm broke. My money's spoken for.
Steven, you don't believe that at all.
Maybe Steven with the Reardon. We know you got family money. Steven, get
Have
out of
a
here,
good one,
man.
buddy. I'm proud of you. Reardon should be proud of you. Your family should be proud of you. You're kicking butt. See you, buddy.
Appreciate you guys for having me on.
Yeah.
All right, anytime. Steven Rissotto. Had to take a shot, man. Had to take a shot.